All right, hello everyone. This is a Wednesday video. I'll be doing these as long as I'm doing this, like one or two questions a day. We'll be doing videos on Wednesdays as some async assignments. We got these 4 learning targets for this lesson. This lesson goes all week long. I can calculate the affordability of monthly rent, right? That's to be able to figuring out based on how much someone makes, what the kind of rental how much they can afford in terms of rent. About 28%, somewhere between 25 and 30% of their income should be monthly income should be directed towards rent, or could be up to that. Could be directed towards rent. Less if you want to save money. I can determine the relationship between square footage and monthly rent. We did started doing that yesterday. We looked at various apartments. They had square footage listed as an X value, and then their monthly rent listed as a Y value. We put this information into our calculators. We ran a linear regression. We got an equation. We looked at the correlation coefficient. So all of that stuff, and then we determined that as the square footage goes up, as the apartment gets bigger, like the rent increases fairly reliably. I can determine least signing costs, and then I can calculate moving expenses. All right, we've done the vocabulary on day 1. Put your name and learning targets in there if you haven't already. We talked about all that. We talked about example 1 already. We talked about example 2 already on Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday, so we are looking at example 3. Rufus and Maria paid a $200 application deposit for the 1,150 square foot apartment in example 2. So from example 2, Rufus and Maria. All right. Okay. Rufus and Maria are required to provide a credit report that costs $25 and pay a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent. The landlord also requires last month's rent at the time of signing the lease. The broker charged 10% of the yearly rent. How much should they expect to pay to be able to move into this apartment? Okay, so we just got to add up all these expenses. First, there's an application deposit. That was $200. All right, that's to review the application. That's pretty steep. It's pretty steep. A credit report fee. It's fairly common. $25 to run a credit report. Security deposit, 1 month's rent. This is somewhat common to have a security deposit. Sometimes it's 1 month rent, sometimes it's a flat fee. In this case, it's $1,595. Then they also have to pay last month's rent. $1,595. The nice thing is with last month's rent, you'll get it back at the end when your lease is up, right? Because your last month you won't have to pay. You've already paid up front for the last months of rent. And the security deposit, if your landlord is honest, and if you haven't done any damage or left the apartment really dirty, then you'll get the security deposit back too. So these two things here, you'll eventually kind of get back, so to speak. This one you'll actually get in cash. This one you'll get in the last month of free rent. This you won't get back, and to get that you won't get back. Right? That's just fees. Then there's what's called a broker fee. So Rufus and Maria must have said, pardon me. Rufus and Maria must have gone to someone and said, "Help us find an apartment." This is like a broker. Well, the broker charges 10% of the yearly rent. So we have to find out what the yearly rent is. Well, let me break out my calculator. Rent, what did they say rent was? Rent was $1,595. All right. 1,000. Oh, that calculator's too big. There we go. There we are. $1,595 a month, right? How did I get this number? I kind of assumed it based on this information here, but remember the apartment that was 1,150. I'm sorry, 1,150 square foot. Okay, I'm gonna go back up to example 2. Where is the apartment that is 1,150 square feet? Do you see it? It's there on the table here. It's on the table right there. All right, the apartment that was 1,150 square feet was $1,595 per month. All right, that's how I got that. Okay, so the broker is going to charge 10% of the yearly rent. So to find the yearly rent, I'm going to have to times this monthly by 12. Why? Because there are 12 months in every year. Multiply by 12, I see it's $19,140 per year to rent this apartment. You ever thought about how expensive it is to rent an apartment? Well, there you have an idea. If the rent is $1,595 per month, you are paying $19,140 per year. Woof, to have a roof over your head. Yeah. All right. So that's what it is. The broker wants 10% of this. So we're going to multiply this by 10% expressed as a decimal out of 1, right? So we have to move that decimal place of the 10% over 2 places. So it becomes 0.1. So 0.1, that becomes $1,914 right there, the broker's fee. Then you also have to pay first month's rent. Fortunately, in a way that you're paying for your first month's rent just up front, and you don't have to pay it a second time. So this is kind of like coming back to you, so to speak. And then you add all these up, you get a sum of $6,924. That's kind of what Rufus and Maria need to have saved to kind of be able to, like, here's a check for $6,924 in order to move into this apartment. Now, it's not always like this. There's the apartment deposit isn't always that significant, maybe $25 or $50. Credit report fee usually is included in the application deposit. The security deposit can be 1 month's rent, or sometimes it's just $500, or maybe it's $1,000. You're not always finding a, you're not if you don't go through a broker, you won't have to pay a broker's fee, and sometimes they don't require last month's rent altogether. So you could get through with maybe in a more realistic scenario around here, Rufus and Maria might need $3,000 to get started, so it's like less than half this. But just be aware that it costs money to even get into an apartment. All right. So I'm gonna do this one with you, and then this one is yours to do. All right, Jordan. It's 10 points. The one I'm gonna do with you is 2 points. So all right, Jan is renting an apartment that will cost $1,500 per month. He must pay a $100 application fee and a $25 credit report fee. His security deposit is 2 months' rent, and he must also pay the last month rent upon signing the lease. His broker charges 5% of the total year's rent as the fee for finding the apartment. How much can Jordan expect to pay to move into an apartment? All right, this is the part where you want to pause my video here and you want to try this problem so that you kind of like wrap your head around it and just work it out. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then when I do it, you confirm either you got it, which is great. Now you can do it and you can go right to Jordan. If you didn't get it, it's because you have some misconception or misunderstanding. And then we'll get that cleared up after you unpause me and I show you how to do it, and you'll have better understanding to do the Jordan problem. So either way, you want to try this on your own. Give yourself whatever time you need to finish this. All right, great. This is actually a pretty straightforward problem. You've unpaused me now. I'm going to talk about this. The hardest thing is actually the broker fee, because it's like a two-stepper just to find out that broker fee. And so let me do that first. I'm going to do the broker fee first. All right. The broker's fee charges 5% of the total year's rent as a fee for finding the apartment. Well, what's the total year's rent? I don't know yet. Let me find out. The monthly rent is $1,500. That's the monthly rent. I'm going to have to multiply this by 12 to get the yearly rent. So multiply that by 12 to get the yearly rent. Okay, $18,000 per year for this apartment. The broker wants 5% of that number. So I'm going to have to take this 18,000 here, and I'm going to have to multiply it by 5% as a decimal, expressed as a decimal out of 1. How do I do that? I have to move over my decimal place over 2 places, which becomes 0.05. 0.05. Right? That'll be 5% of $18,000. 900. 900 is what the broker wants for finding this apartment for Jan. I guess I just want to show you how to convert that percentage into a decimal out of 1. Take the percentage and divide by 100. If you don't know how to turn it into a decimal out of 1 in your head, just take the percentage and divide by 100, and you get the decimal place moved over 2 places, so you get to see it. And if I wanted to turn it back into a percentage, I'd multiply it by 100, and it would turn back into a percentage form. Okay? All right, so $900. The broker wants 900. So 900 is going to be where I start this, because everything else is just simple adding. Let's see. If there's a $100 application fee, I need to add that. $900 for the broker, $100 for the application fee. Whoops. Let me get that adjusted. There we go. All right. I need to add a $25 credit report, right? $25 credit report. His security deposit is 2 months' rent. 2 months' rent. So there's 2 ways to do this. You could do 1 month's rent is $1,500, and you could add that twice if you so desire. You could have also took 1,500 just multiplied by 2 inside this expression, and it would do the same thing. So if I was do it the other way, I'd do times 2, and then I could, like that. I could just add, right? I could do it that way too. Okay, security month's deposit is 2 months' rent, and he also has to pay last month's rent, so plus another 1,500. And honestly, if I was, I don't want that 2 pluses. The calculator will not be happy with me if I have 2 pluses. Okay, I could also change this to a 3 and get rid of this 1,500, right? Because that's just 1,500 3 times. But I'm just going to keep it like this to make it make sense based on the word problem, and I don't see any additional charges, so I press enter. 5,525. 5,525 should be what Jan needs to get into this apartment. All right, that's what you've got to do today on Wednesday, May 19th. All right, I'm Mr. Solt, and I'll see you in class.